The second episode of The Ones Who Live is here, and it's arguably even better than the last one. Before we get into it, just want to add some disclaimers here. While I'm not going to be doing a full breakdown of every scene in this episode, I will be talking about it as if you've seen it. So, spoiler warning. Something I forgot to mention last week is that this series, compared to the original, is shot extremely well. The last series was pretty flat in its cinematography with kind of muted colors, but this is like movie quality, and I really appreciate that. Last episode, we got to see what Rick has more or less been up to since we last saw him, and this episode we see the same for Michonne. While I really love the original Walking Dead series, it did have a tendency to meander a bit. It was sometimes dragging its feet through the mud. But the first two episodes of The Ones Who Live have been pretty breakneck with their pacing. In this episode, Michonne saves two people that are part of another community, and I feel like the original series would have spent the entire episode with this community, and we've been learning about the inner mechanisms of how it works and all these different people that we weren't ever going to see again. But that's really only the first 5 or 10 minutes of this episode. I also really liked the community that we saw. It was like a traveling caravan community, which we haven't really seen before. And we very well may see these people again, but if we never did, I would be okay with that. Not because I didn't like them, but because I like the idea of only getting brief glimpses into the world of The Walking Dead. It's just really neat world building, in my opinion. Speaking of those characters, I really liked this newcomer, Natty. He was hilarious, and he had a surprising amount of depth to him. The episode did a really good job of making me care about him in such a short amount of time. I really liked that scene with the mustard gas. Well, I don't know if it's mustard gas for sure. I'm not an expert in chemical warfare, but I'm calling it mustard gas more or less out of convenience. Anyway, I really found that scene to be nerve-wracking and horrifying and just raised the stakes in a pretty unique way for this world. I thought this episode was going to end the same way the last one did with that brief little reunion, but it actually was like the halfway point of the episode and it continued on after that, which I really loved. But seeing as how this is only the second episode, it wasn't going to be that easy to get away. The CRM has sent reinforcements to Rick's location, so now he has to act as if he is capturing Michonne rather than her rescuing him. And at Rick's instruction, Michonne goes into the CRM under a different name and backstory, and she goes with the name Dana, which I thought was kind of funny because the actress's name is Denai. So I wonder if they were just kind of referencing that in a roundabout way. Rick and Michonne are now both at the CRM, which it's not optimal, but all they have to do is just bide their time and wait for an opportunity to escape, right? Well, not exactly, because Jadis is here and she knows who Michonne is and of her connection to Rick. She confronts Rick and says that she's not going to tell anybody, but if they escape, she will kill everyone back home in Alexandria. Which, let's be honest, she just signed her own death warrant with that. I mean, Rick's stare at the end tells us that. I'm really curious what Jadis is planning, because obviously she's trying to blackmail Rick in some way, otherwise she wouldn't have kept that information off the books and to herself. I'm really intrigued where this show is going to go. How are they going to escape? What is Jadis's plan? Are they going to have the happy ending that they so deserve? We'll find out in the coming weeks, but in the meantime, that's all for now. I really loved this episode, guys, and I am so excited to see where it goes. But what did you think? Let me know down below, like, subscribe, and as always, take care.